my name is Farah. If would you like to please introduce yourself, starting from?
My name is Farida.
Thank you.
My name is Nafa Aditari.
My name is Ilness.
Yeah, my name is.
Thank you.
Dan.
Ini gini doang nih.
Now we come to the next assessment, which is about the incident, injury, and illness. The resource checklist is first the information technology for research and documentation, national quality framework, education and care services, national regulations, national quality standards, service standards, policies, procedures as required by national regulation for health and safety, educators for collaboration, children in a regulated education and care service in Australia. So there are some key terms that you could actually look there. I won't read all of these, but I will mention all the governing body, such as ASIQA, which is the organization in Australia that will taking care of early childhood in Australia. So it is the independent national authority that works with all authorities to administer the national quality framework. The next one is approved anaphylactic management training. This is regarding the child with anaphylactic and allergy. The next one is the asthma management training, approved first aid qualification, emergency services, first aid, hazard, injury, and medication. Legislation and standards. Relevant legislation and standards include, but are not limited to, the first one is Australian standards, emergency control procedures for building, structures, and workplaces, education and care services, National Law Act 2010, Section 174, education and care services, National Regulation 2011, Regulation 77, 85 till 87, 103 and 177 and 183. Public Health and Wellbeing Act 2008, Victoria. If you are in Victoria, Public Health and Wellbeing Regulation 2009, if we are in Victoria. Occupational Health and Safety Act 2004, and Occupational Health and Safety Regulation 2007. WorkSafe Victoria Compliance Code, First Aid in the Workplace 2008. Look, now would you like to take turn to continue?
Yes. The next one is National Quality Standard, Quality Area 2, Children's Health and Safety, Standard 2.1, each child health is promoted. Element 2.1.1, each child health needs are supported. Element 2.1.3, effective hygiene practices are promoted and implemented. Element 2.1.4, steps are taken to control the spread of infectious disease and to manage injuries and illness in accordance with recognized guidelines. Then National Quality Standard, Quality Area 3, Physical Environment, Standard 3.1, the design and location of premises is appropriate for the operation of the service. Element 3.1.2, premises, furniture and equipment are safe, clean and well maintained. Incident, injury, trauma and illness report. An incident, injury, trauma and illness report contains details of an incident, injury, trauma or illness that occurs while the child is being visited and cared for at the service. The report will include name and age of the child, circumstances leading to the incident, injury, illness, time and that the incident occurred, the injury was received or the child was subjected to trauma, details of any illness which becomes apparent while the child is being cared for, including any symptoms, time and date of the onset of the illness, details of the action taken by educators, including any medication administered, first aid provided or medical professional contacted, of any person who witnessed the incident, injury, or trauma, names of any person the educators notified or attempt to notify, and the time and date of this, signature of the person making the entry, and the time and date the report was made.
Thank you. Novel, would you like to take a turn?
Yes. Educators are required to complete the documentation of any incident, injury or trauma occurs when a child is being educated and cared for by the service. This includes recording incidences of biting, scratching, dental or mouth injury due to confidentiality and privacy laws. Only the name of the child injured will be recorded on the incident, injury, trauma, or illness report. Any other child or friend involved in the incident will not have their names recorded. If other children are injured or hurt, separate records will be completed for each child involved in the incident. Parents authorized nominee must acknowledge the details contained in the record. Sign and date the record on arrival to collect the child. All incident, injury, trauma, and illness records must be kept until the child is 25 years of age.
Yep, so I just want to explain a bit here. So in childcare center where there is a children or any child get injured, let's say child A got beaten by child A, this is very common things. In toddler, like 1 year to 2 years old, as you read before, you will not allow to disclose the name of the child that beat the children to their parents. So you can only write child X, child A. You can't. This is really confidential. You can tell that child A or child B beat your child, but you can never tell. If the child itself tell, it's fine. But we as educators, we are not allowed to do this. It is against the law, and this report has to be really detailed and thorough, because as you read, it will cap until the child become 25 years old. Let's say a child fell and got hurt in the head, and we think it is okay. It turns out that the child died. We are the one that will be integrated and facing the authorities what is happening there, or even if it's happening like few years later, like doctor says because of something happened in few years before, this child got some problem with his brain or her brain, then this could be something serious. So as you read, will be kept until 25 years of age. So it is really important when you record the report, it has to be detailed what is happening and what's going on there. It has to be documented. And you saw before that it has the name of the child, the age. On the paper that you all have, it shows how the report is done. So it will show the picture of the body, and let's say if it's happening on the head, you just cross the head. If it's happening on the arm, you just cross the arm on the body picture. That's how we're doing the report. And if it's head injury, you have to do a head check, which is every 5 minutes. So monitor the child every 5 minutes. Does the child collapse or not? This is only special for head injury until 1 hour next hour. So if it's not happened, that it isn't okay. But if you think that it is necessary to call ambulance, then please just call ambulance. Then facing prompting after. So what is the definition of serious incident? Novel, would you like to read that part?
Regulation require the approved provider or nominated supervisor to notify regulatory authorities within 24 hours of any serious incident of the service through the NQA IT system. A. The death of the child. While being educated and cared for by an education and care service or following an incident while being educated and cared for by an education and care service. Any incident involving serious injury or trauma to or illness of a child while being educated and cared for by an education and care service, which are reasonable for person who consider require urgent medical attention from a registered medical practitioner, or for which the child attended or ought reasonably to have attended a hospital. For example, whooping, cough, broken limb, and anaphylaxis reaction.
So that is the definition of serious incident that is happened in childcare. Obviously, the first one is including in the death of the child. Would you like to continue, Novel?
Any incident or emergency where the attendance of emergency services at the education and care service premises was solved or ought reasonably to have been solved. Example, severe asthma attack, seizure or anaphylaxis. And the other one is any circumstance where a child being educated and cared for by an education and care service appears to be missing or cannot be accounted for, or appears to have been taken or removed from the education and care service premises in a manner that contravenes this regulation or is mistakenly locked in or locked out of the education and care service premises or any part of the premises. A serious incident should be documented as an incident, injury, trauma, and illness report as soon as possible and within 24 hours of the incident with the evidence attached.
I can read the next one. The next one is the head injuries. It is very common for children to bump their heads during everyday play. However, it is difficult to determine whether the injury is serious or not. That's why we do the head check, as I said before. Therefore, any knock to the head is considered a head injury and should be assessed by the doctor. So, what is the consideration when we have to do the incident report? It is from here. So, from here up to head, when something happened, we have to call the parents. But from here to down, we don't have to call the parents straight away. It has a sustained head injury involving high speeds of fallen from a height. This is definitely a serious incident. Loses consciousness. Has to be something related to the brain. Seems unwell or vomits several times after hitting the head, which is also regarding the head or brain injury. Trauma is defined as the impact of an event of a series of during which a child feels helpless and pushed beyond their ability to cope. There are a range of different events that might be traumatic to a child, including accidents, injuries, serious illness, natural disasters such as bushfire, assault, and threats of violence. Domestic violence from the family normally, neglect or abuse, and war or terrorist attacks. Parental or cultural trauma can also have an effect of the children. This definition firmly places the trauma into a developmental context. Trauma changes the way children understand their world, the people in it, and where they belong. Trauma can disrupt the relationships child has with their parents, educators, and staff who care for them. It can transform children's language. You probably could see some children's refugee that has experienced a war back then from their country. They're very different with normal child because they've been, like, let's say the Palestinian children or another, Sudan, like any country with the war, they will be different. You can't expect them to talk normal to you because they have been through such an enormous, terrible experience in their life. So some behavior response in babies and toddlers who have experienced trauma may include avoidance avoidance of eye contact, they'll probably not be able to see you eye to eye. Loss of physical skills such as rolling over, sitting, crawling and walking. Fear of going to sleep, maybe they think like, there is a bomb gonna come. Nightmares because of they have been experienced. Loss of appetite because of the thought what is happening. Making very few sounds because they're scared if they make more sounds something is going to happen. Increased crying and general distress. Unusual aggression because they think maybe we are not a good person. Concern on the move with no quiet times because they always feel like they're nervous, something is going to happen. Sensitive to noises because obviously children in the war they hear the gun every time. Behavior response for preschool age children with experiences trauma may include increased clingy behavior such as constantly following you or their parents because they are anxious. Anxiety when separated from parents, new problem with skills like sleeping, eating, going to the toilet and paying attention because their mindset already directed somewhere else, shutting down and withdrawing from everyday experiences. It's like they're shutting themselves from the world, they don't want to have anything to deal with the world anymore. Difficulties to enjoy activities, everything is very annoying for them, they don't find a joy of their life. Being jumpier or like everything's just scared. Physical complaints with such as stomach pains and headaches even though there's nothing wrong with this child. Blaming themselves and thinking the trauma was their fault. So there are some procedure in the event of a serious incident. First, we have to ensure the safety of themselves and others. This is called doctor's ABCD, which is danger. Look around. Is there any danger? Response. Does the child okay? Is the child okay or not? If not, then sending for help. Ambulance or anyone around. Airway, making sure that the child is still breathe. C for CPR. If it's not breathe, then you should start your CPR straight away.
Pumping.
Yes, pumping. And if it doesn't work, you have to do the defibrillation, which is normally you can find it around the box, those things that used to shock the children. Yeah. Attend to the child immediately, assess where further medical attention is required. Is this normal accident or not? Contacting emergency services or ambulance. And if it's something that you could do first aid, you could straight away doing the first aid because as a child care worker, I'm sure that you guys already have your first aid. Ensure that injured child is reassured that they are okay. We have to calm them. And if the illness or the incident involve asthma or allergy, anaphylactic medical condition, we have to refer to the children's medication plan. So when a child enrolled into our childcare center, we normally have a box. When you enter the room, you will see all their picture. If child has an allergy, it will written there what their allergy is, and it will have EpiPen on that for you to take action when something is happening. So make sure you know where it is stored and you know what to do. Notify parents that hey, your child now is having this allergic reaction, please come, and make sure that we calm them, that we took the action, now the child is safe. Remain with the child until the ambulance arrives. Ensure any medical condition or history is available. Action plan should provide guidance of first aid responses in an emergency as provided by the child's doctors. So all these things, action plan is already signed by doctor. Calling ambulance, you never hesitate to call ambulance if you think this is not good. And when you call, you tell what is the address, what's the problem, how many people are injured, what's the age, what's the gender, is he still conscious or not, is he breathing, is she or he breathing or not. This is very important because the time is critical. Emergency response procedures, childcare center. You can always administer the EpiPen for the child that has asthma, or if it's allergy, it could also happen like that.
You're me. Okay. Actually, I had for like 5 questions. Actually, I had a lot of questions in my head, but I will pick 5 of them.
Yes, maybe you can tell me one by one and I'll answer it for you.
Question number 1 is, how should us as the child care staff communicate with parents or guardians in the event of an incident, injury or illness affecting their child?
Yes, so first we have to be calm and make sure that we know what to talk on the phone, and always try to be calm when you call the parents and not make them panic. So you already know, like, let's say it's not a big injury, then you say like, okay, like child A bumped their heads, we've been doing the head shake, he's okay, I calm the child, we give the ice pack and he's now okay. If it's some serious incident, then be transparent what is going on, what is happening now. Let's say, you know, like the ambulance came and then now the child is in the hospital. So calm, be honest, and be transparent. That is my answer.
Okay. I'm satisfied with that answer. And the second question is, what documentation is required when recording incident, injuries or illness in childcare setting?
Yes, so as you see on the paper before that I show you, that is the template of the incident report. You have to put all the detail, the biodata of the child, that is, that the incident happened to her. But if something happened, like the child was beaten by someone else, then just make sure that is not on that, the name of the child that beat this child. Look, now would you like to mix like 2 questions from you and then Nova will continue? That's okay.
Okay, so my question is, what steps that I should take as a child care staff to prevent incidents and injuries in a children, in a child care setting?
Yeah, so this is why we learn about observation. So when you see what is the child's interest, you can fulfill their needs and their interest. When a child is not bored, they won't make, you know, like they won't really involve in many accidents. Incident normally happen when the child is bored and they're just trying to do whatever it is to, you know, get them stimulated. This is why designing an outdoor and indoor space is very important, because you don't want to have incident as many as it probably happened. We want to minimize this incident.
Okay.
Thank you. And do you have the next one?
Yes. So the next one is, how should child care providers respond to minor injuries such as cuts, bruises, or scrapes?
Yes, this could be using the basic first aid, and first, of course, calm the child. And if it's bruised, then get an ice pack from the fridge. It's normally, the bump will go down a bit after you put the ice pack. If it's on the head, don't put it too long, give some break. But for the cuts, we can always clean the wound or the cut and then put some bandage. Yeah, that is still the basic first aid. Thank you. Nova, would you like to continue?
Okay. How often should child care providers review and update their policies and procedures related to incident, injury, and illness and management?
Yes, so based on the requirements of the legislative and the government, once every 5 years. But if accidents happen very regularly, then something is wrong. So obviously you have to do it more often. Thank you. Any next question?
In what ways can child care providers ensure a safe and hygienic environment to minimize the risk of incidents, injuries, and illness?
Yes. So as we know, children could be quite messy. So we as an adult, we have to make sure that, let's say baby room, we always sanitize the room once a day. And if there is any child that is got disease, the whole room has to be sanitized and kept clean. This is how we minimize the spread of the virus. Thank you.
Okay, so this is the last question.
Yes.
How should childcare staff be trained and prepared to handle emergency situations such as allergic reactions, seizures, or choking incidents?
Yes. So things like this, it comes to experience when you first join childcare. You probably will have a panic attack seeing children involved in this series of accident. But as time goes by, you will be more calm and always refer to more senior staff. And when you have your first aid, you will probably get more used to this situation. So it's okay, it'll take time, but after a few years of time, you will be more experienced and more calm. Thank you.
Thank you.
Does you have any questions?
I have another question. What procedures should be followed in the event of more serious injuries such as head injury or fracture?
Yes, so with the fractures, because it can be something serious, then you have to call the ambulance and bring the child to the doctor. So documenting, call the parents, notify your director, straight away call the ambulance when it happens.
Okay.
So is that all the question? Do you have anything else?
Yes, I have two last questions. How can child care providers recognize the signs and symptoms are common in childhood illness such as fever, vomiting, or rash?
May you repeat, sorry?
How can child care providers recognize the signs and symptoms of common childhood illness such as fever, vomiting, or rash?
Yeah. So normally each educator has to communicate and make sure if they see something like this, they have to notify each other. And if it is a disease, then a notification has to be sent to all the parents and make sure that that child is not coming until she or he cleared from the disease itself. So far, do you guys have any feedback that you want to pass on to me for today's lesson?
I think it's all clear, miss.
It's all clear? Thank you, Nopal. Do you have any feedback of my presentation? What do you think can be more interesting for next session?
Aduh aja.
Ini kali,
Nggak ada briefing apa-apa nih.
Sekarang aja. Ini ya bilang aja kayak lebih banyak kayak foto, image, video, kayak gitu kali ya.
Maybe we
Aduh
should
bentar,
say-
ulang lagi.
enggak kayak maybe we should take a lot of photos and
Yeah.
videos.
Yeah. I would like to see more photos and
Ah.
videos from you.
Educating the children.
Yeah, in childcare center. Itu aja ya, coba. Is there any feedback from you want to pass on to me?
Maybe I would like to see you with a lot of photos and videos that you educating the children in childcare center.
Okay.
Like that.
Okay, that is really good feedback. Thank you. And how about you, Lukman? Do you have any feedback from me you want to pass on?
I agree with Nopal. I